Okay, hello everyone. I'm gonna be streaming my Crazyhouse World Championship match versus Azuaga. Uh, yeah, 10 games of 3+2, and I believe if it's a tie, you have to play 2 more matches until someone has an advantage. So let's get started. Now, I've been learning G3 Bishop G2 recently, but I feel like that's the riskiest line, and I'll just go with stuff that I know a little bit better. Okay, can't play knight D2. Let's just defend this. Defend the knight. This also helps protect against pins along this diagonal. Have to watch out for knight b4 in some positions. It's kind of tempting to sack actually, because it messes up his pawn structure, and then I can pressure very well. This is a strong knight on e5. Definitely want to castle soon as well, because I have a weakened back rank, so. Okay. Now I can probably ignore this because I take c6 after he takes. So I think I'm just gonna castle. Now here I'm trying to think of a way to attack. I think pawn at a6 is the best, so I guess I want to get a pawn. So something like queen c1 seems reasonable. I'm just going for the c6 pawn. It's a bit slow, but my king is pretty safe, and he doesn't have any pieces in his hand, so I don't think he'll be mating me soon. So it's also very difficult to defend this. You can be like queen e8, and I can even try knight at a5 and really go for it. Or I could take and redrop a knight on e5, or I think knight f3 is a good move, just to move the knight d5 instead of dropping a knight. Okay, that's interesting. If knight takes c6, what is he going to do? Take here? Okay, let's say takes, rook takes, takes. I could just play knight here to be safe. Let's do that. He has maybe takes, and at e4, but I can just redrop on e2, and wherever he takes, I just take back. Takes like this, I just take back, so should still be okay. My king is also very safe. His king is pretty safe too, though, so queen e8's good, yeah, makes sense. Okay, I guess I'll just push the bishop back. It's not really necessary either, though. I feel like he's playing pretty well. I don't have much of an advantage or anything. Don't want to use up too much time, so I could go e5. It's a bit risky. I'll stay with g3. Still pressure, but I think if e5 you would take, and then knight g4, I'm probably slightly worse. It's risky at least. I don't really want to take any risks. I think bishop at e7 is probably a good move. Queen d7 is also okay, but I think this gives you more chances to attack. So if I take, I could place on c5 or e5. E5 is more aggressive towards the king, but then it's also defended, so it's not as strong. But here I win a full rook. Yeah, do I want the rook? I mean, okay, I'll take here anyways. I don't know which place I'm going to drop, though. Could also do bishop here and take this rook, so at least... But he takes back the other rook, so he's still got king safety. I guess I'll go for the rook. I feel like his king is still pretty safe to the point where this doesn't really do anything, so I'll go for material. Alexa, stop. Okay. My king is pretty safe, so I'm willing to take this exchange, I think. Got rook takes, he attacked my bishop. I could drop bishop on f1 and defend, or I could ignore it and try to counterattack. Bishop e5, maybe takes. Yeah, I don't think I'm fast enough though. Could do knight f4, knight g3. Probably bishop f1 is the best, I think. I gotta be a bit careful about pawn drops. You can see like pawn, I don't know, pawn d2, for example, yeah. I think I'm just gonna sack and redrop. I don't really need all these knights. King is still pretty safe, I would say. Can try moves like this, or at g5. He's running low on time as well, so that's a good move. Actually, I don't think I can allow, because bishop at h3 seems like a good attacking move. So I think I have to prevent that and be a bit defensive here. Which is kind of unfortunate, but okay. What's this? At g4 maybe? Okay, I think he's just running low on time now. Yeah, that's mate. Okay, so against g3, I don't know what to do. Let's do... I feel like I want to play the h5 line. I can go e5 though. Seems pretty strong. He's got some light score weaknesses, so h5 seems pretty safe. When he castles, maybe sacrifice and at g4. Bishop e7 I think is fine. I wonder if he's gonna castle though. That's a good move. If I move away, it's pretty risky. I think it's best to just defend it. Let's say I go here, takes, and he sacrifices. I think I'm still okay. I can also castle queenside here. I'm definitely out of my opening knowledge. don't really see any other continuation besides sacrificing here. You can't really put any bishops like this, or... Okay, that makes sense too. Could castle. Just used to castling, so I'm tempted to cast the queen's eye, but it's usually pretty risky in Crazyhouse. Could also play d4, but doesn't look that great. I think I'll just castle. Recapture the rook. It's usually okay in Crazyhouse, but maybe rook a8 is a little bit scary. Okay, he's won my queen. Now I think everything is safe, so I can try to counterattack now. Because the queen isn't enough to really do anything. If he drops here, I can just block. He can't really move the queen anywhere. So typically if you have a queen, you need either a weak king first, weak enemy king, so that you can attack it, or you need more pieces to break through. So here I can, yeah, try something like this. Or I could double up the bishops. Looks pretty strong. Which is better. Here I'm trying to win the pawn on f5. If he takes, I take with the h pawn, open up the h file. I think this is actually better, bishop g4. But I'm also giving him a bishop, so I have to be careful. Maybe that this doesn't work, but in the future, you gotta be careful. If he moves away, then I think I can take, and then knight f3 works. So if he moves this way, then I'm still forking the bishop. Or just take and redrop on g4, root drop the pawn. Okay, here I have this, and then knight f3. But actually, I was a bit quick to play this, because now he can start counterattacking, so I gotta be careful. Could also do this and just attack his queen, I think. If he takes here, I can take. And I've saved my bishop at least. Gotta be careful of e6, I think. That looks pretty bad. Say at f3, bishop, king back, takes. You can pin this though. Yeah, no, at e6 is too big of a problem, so. Let's play bishop at g4. If he drops an e6, I can take and play bishop takes then, so. I gotta be pretty careful. My king safety is pretty bad though. This king d7 was risky. I think bishop a4 is good to pin. I probably block with the pawn. Then he can sack though. If I take, he gets the pin again. So, okay, no, that doesn't. Well, okay, if I get one diagonal, I have at h3, knight f3, and at g2 mate. So I need one more diagonal piece. This could be that if it works out, but okay. It's also good. I think I'll just take. Try to be safe. Can I sacrifice maybe and then drop? King g2, drop again. I still need one more diagonal. Oh, I get one. That looks like it might be mate soon then. So takes, at g4, king h2, check. Check, check. Yeah, looks like mate. It's gotta be at least good because this forks a lot of stuff. And this should be mate. Don't need to take the queen because I have mate. Very nice. Okay. This opening is pretty good. I'm pretty bad at playing against it. But d5 I think is kind of bad because then you block the bishop out. Oh, he's not even going for bishop b7. Now he's got to watch out for this drop. I could actually take and then put the pawn here already. Or pawn c7. I think that's worth it. Which one? Kinda... Okay, I'll go for the rook, but it's not necessarily the best, actually. In these kind of situations, it's hard to use a rook, because, I mean, the king is too safe to use a rook, but a pawn would be good for h6. So, it's actually not, like, easily winning to just get the rook. I guess I'll drop here and try to exchange for something else. Or the knight, or whatever I need, and then hopefully break through to the king's side. I think I should do that. Yeah, let's play c4. Try to trade a little bit more. I do need a pawn for h6. This always helps break through. It's a common pattern. If takes, then your bishop can come in. He has no defender. His dark squares get weak, and if he doesn't take, then you're just gonna take. If he pushes, then he still has this weak dark square on g7. Okay, and he gives me the pawn. Take with knight, so I can go to e5 maybe. Here I can still consider sacking my queen. Yeah, for sure. So here I'm thinking take the bishop, knight takes, and then at h6, give up the queen, and the idea is he'll have two knights here, and then I'll be getting rid of this last dark square defender, so his dark squares will be very, very weak. I can probably mate soon. He does have knight g6, which covers the back pretty well. I could try this first, but then maybe bishop f8, so... This is pretty tempting, though. My king is very safe, so it's going to be hard for him to defend it. And this looks pretty winning for me, because once he allows at h6, I mean, there's no chance. My king is just so safe, so he can never counterattack. He has to try to defend the dark squares. Okay. I wonder if he'll take or ignore it. He could try at d4, but it's still too slow. I can play at h6, if he takes, just recapture. Okay. And then now at h6, and this is my idea. He's got rook g6 maybe. Rook g6, this might be a threat. I don't think so. This looks too slow. I think rook g6 would have been good. Defend, and then counterattack a little bit, but now I should have mate soon. He can't take, he gets mated. Takes, I have bishop h6, king g8, then I have mate, and if king h8, then if takes here king h8, then I put pawn here, and then go mate on the back. So, he can't take it. I'm already threatening mate with rook f8, king takes, and then bishop h6, defending the rook. He has to come up, and that's probably going to be mate soon, like knight h4 is mate in 1, actually. So, yeah, he can't come up or go back now. This should be mate in 2. Yeah, that's mate in 1. Ooh, c4. I don't know how to play against this. Let's try e6, d6. And e5 is usually good. Gotta watch out for at h6 or yeah, g5, these kind of positions though. Now he's threatening to take h7 after this, so. Okay, I have knight b4, that looks pretty nice. Knight b4, maybe he'll take, and then, no, that's too good for me. If I go here, takes, Knight takes d3. And then king has to move and I can recapture. So this looks really good. Yeah, I can't really find anything from his perspective. Okay. I think taking the queen, it doesn't work because he takes and he's too well defended. I probably prefer taking the bishop with check. And then if he sacks the queen... if he sacrifices the queen, I might have to just take here. I don't know, we'll see. So if I take the queen, then I'm not threatening any mates, and he can take... So like, look here, takes, then he can take e7. He's starting to take and promote. And I don't have any checkmates because his knight covers these squares very well. So maybe bishop b4, but then he takes. I would have to play bishop takes. I don't have the pin anymore, so... Yeah, if he takes, actually... Yeah, okay, he done it. So I have to think a little bit. Say I take... Bishop g4. That looks good. And then I'm covering the back rank. Yeah, takes e7, then I play bishop g4, threatening checkmate on these two squares because I have a queen in my hand, so I can drop, he takes, and then recapture the actual queen. And then bishop g4 also opens up the rook to defend f8, so... This seems... And this is much safer, but it's also probably not as good, so... Okay, let's take the queen. He doesn't have any knight h6 tricks because he needs a major piece for g7 or h8. So knight h6 I can just take. I don't see any other tricks. So okay, just stick with my first idea. Now maybe if bishop g4, he's got takes, rook takes, knight h6, knight f6, and then takes. But then I get a knight for c2, so I don't think that works. Let's do this, yeah. And this is getting really hard for him to defend these squares. His king is completely stuck, can't move anywhere. All cut off. Can never castle too. He'd love to castle in this kind of position, but wouldn't work. Bishop e2 might work. No, but then I can just take. If he takes back with a knight, I have queen d1. This seems pretty tough to defend. I actually don't know how to defend. Bishop at d1. Same idea, though. I can just take, and he can't do anything about it. So this might be mate for me already. I think this was a good decision to take here. I'm trying to think of any sort of like knight checks he can do here to sneak his way in, but yeah, knight h6, knight f6 looks like the best option. Knight h6 I take, then knight f6, king h8, and he takes here. But then I have knight c2 because he gave me a knight. I gotta be careful. Maybe knight h6 takes, knight f6, king h8, bishop, and then knight at h5. That could be mate for him. I don't know. Maybe I should have played king takes actually. I'm a bit concerned about that. I didn't realize he had a bishop. Okay, he didn't play it. Let me see it quickly here. Okay, he got the bishop from taking e7. Yeah, I just didn't even calculate that. Oh, I hate this line. always confuses me. I play knight c3 and he goes b4 and it's annoying. So I'll probably knight d2. I mean, I've been playing knight d2 anyway, so should be okay. It's already game 4. I guess so. Yeah, okay. It's going pretty fast. Take with knight so I can play at e5 and try to get my pieces on e5. Or I can play at h6, but I'm assuming the best move here would probably be to play h6 for black to cover that. Or he can play at g4, it's a little more aggressive. If I move, then I often sack on g2 and put the pawn on f3. It's defended. That's also interesting. Now I can't play at h6 because he'll take and take. So here I can either play at e5 or just play it really safe. I think this is a bit slow though, I don't really have to do that. I'd rather play at e5. A bit more aggressive, maybe later I can drop something at f6. Probably a good move here for him to double up. Put a bishop here, something like that. Okay, I could take with the knight too. Prefer pawn because I think f6 is my ultimate goal here. These kind of positions, the light squares are usually just too protected and you have to invade on the dark squares. That's a great move. I think I should just play it safe though, to be honest. This looks a bit risky. I'm concerned if I play knight d2 though, he's got like at h3. And he takes here next. Could try at f6 now. If takes, then knight h6 and take g4. That's pretty nice actually. But okay, at f6, what if he just takes f3? At f6 takes f3. Can I take g7? He might take here. He's threatening knight h3 mate. That looks pretty bad. I don't want to risk it. I think I'd rather risk h3. If h3, then I have at f6 takes, then takes, I think. That looks okay. Yeah. And it's the same idea. If at h3, at f6 takes, then I have knight h6 and take g4. Okay, he might redrop. It's also good. Yeah. I think this time I'm going to go for this because I don't want to cycle. I could have definitely cycled though, he would have lost his diagonals and the knight's pretty effective on f4 though. So I don't think I should have given him another knight. This is probably at least okay. I could also keep taking, but that's probably riskier. Let's just play bishop takes. Can always sacrifice my queen as well. If he takes, then like knight h4, I could just play bishop e2 and sack it. Or try something more aggressive, like queen g4. He's got to be careful about queen takes g7. Can never play queen g3 because knight e2 wins the queen. Now, I mean, this is pretty... I'm not even going to take back, but yeah, and then I can take here instead. Or, yeah, so if I take here, I'm worried he's going to start attacking my king, so it's best to just attack his king, go for checkmate. Here I'm probably already threatening pretty close to checkmate at least. Takes, and then like bishop f6 or something. I mean, knight h6 isn't enough because I usually need a second knight. That's a good move. He missed it in the last game, but found it this time. Could play like... Also do knight f4. I'm a bit worried about knight takes d4 though. Let's just take for now. Takes with bishop. Maybe I have knight f6 now. Not really. Rook g4 defends d4. He can take. I think I can take here, and then I can't really sack though. Let's try this. I might have mate with queen f7. Ooh, it's complicated though. Let's do... I'm thinking I want to play at h7, knight at g5, so thinking of blocking the queen with at s6, like this. Then he takes here, though. Okay, I don't have much time, let's do it. Pretty risky, though, not gonna lie. I feel like I might need a second knight. Typically, you want 2 knights for these kind of attacks. Or in general, honestly. 2 knights makes attacking much easier. Okay, yeah, this is what I was risking, so let's just hope I have mate now. Oh, I could play queen h3 check, intermediate, to prevent him from this threat, and that gives me time to defend if my attack goes wrong. So I actually kind of like that. Okay, let's do that. For example, now I have bishop g4. If my attack goes wrong and it covers all these squares, then I'm still pretty safe, even now with the pin. But I want to first continue attacking and see if it works. So here he's got to come up, I think. And it should be mate, actually. Yeah, now that I'm looking at it. If he goes back... Oh, he can go h8, probably. No, h8, then I take f7. If king g8, then I have bishop h7 and rook h8 and rook g8. I mean, he's got to come up here. And I guess I just have... Should I have mate soon? Let's just take here. I might have mate already, but... Oh, this is rook h8 mate. Okay. My knight covers these squares very nicely, so he has to go here, and then I have rook h8. Okay, yeah. I don't know, I just didn't see knight takes f7 earlier, so I wasn't sure if it was mate or not. That's why that queen h3 move was really good to be safe. I want to play e5. Typically, you want to play these kind of lines, but it's risky because here, I mean, take, and he trades queens, and I'm scared of some sort of like take f7 sack or at h6. So I think bishop d7 first, and then e5 is safest. But now he can play e5, and that's a bit annoying for me. I gotta play defensive then. Yeah, and here I think the theory is takes, and then at h6. Yeah. So this is how I usually defend against it. You really gotta have some sort of idea of what to do. Some people go back here, which is a mistake in my opinion. You just play h6 or drop on h6. Or g5 or something. The point is the dark squares are just too strong defended if you go back. So I think you have to take on g7. This usually works the best too. Sometimes you take, if you have a knight here, you can play knight g4 if the h-pawn isn't there. That's another defense. And then takes, usually play queen takes. And then the bishop will cover the dark squares, queen covers the dark squares, and this knight also covers the dark squares. So that's another defense against it, but if you don't have the queen, then this works. Okay, so you went back. Now you could play h6, but I always have trouble defending the light squares after that. So I prefer at h6, which is kind of a waste of a pawn, but honestly... Or I could just ignore it, because if he drops again, I can do the same thing. So I'll just play rook c8 for now. Maybe e5 at some point. Definitely a bit of a risky position. In these kind of positions after h3, I think it's best to attack on the dark squares and the king. So I probably want to trade this bishop off eventually, and then pressure these squares. Bishop d3, it's tempting to just block like this. I could also play f5. That does weaken my light squares a bit though, so kind of waste the pawn. Not really like a terrible waste, but I like having the really safe king and then sacking a lot for attacks. So this is definitely not needed, but Okay, now I can go e5. So now I'm okay with trading pawns. Maybe h6 first was good too, but and here I'm okay with sacrificing the knight. I'll just play h6. So now my king should be safe. I could take with rook and try to sacrifice here, or I could take with bishop and well, okay, if I take with bishop, he has at d5, so I think I'll take with rook and go for this sacrifice, maybe at g4 to trade off some of his king's defenders. Yeah. Or at f4 now. Now I'm going for the light squares. I actually like this more, I think. This seems too slow. At f4, he can take a7, though. Probably not a problem, to be honest. I think this is fine. Could even do queen a5 and then take here. So I'm attacking the bishop. But yeah, the important part is that my king is really safe here. Maybe knight f6 first. Knight f6 is just a good defender, and then attacking here with one tempo. Next, I'll go queen a5. He does something, and then take, I think. And I'll go at g3 with that pawn. Okay, or this, and now I have a pawn for g3. This looks pretty good. Ooh, that's nice. I didn't see that. Yeah. Okay. Definitely okay still, but I probably should have seen that ahead of time. I think I have to defend now. I'm scared to do at f7 because of at h7. So, yeah, but he's kind of forcing me to defend now. I might actually lose this game. Maybe knight e5. Yeah. If I take back, then he trades queens. I don't want that. So, knight e5 looks pretty scary. Maybe queen a5 then. Attack the bishop, and then threaten the knight. But then he's got like at f7, so it looks pretty rough. I think knight takes e5 is winning. To be honest, yeah. I just didn't see this. Now I can sack the rook. Well, I could also ignore and go king h8, because my knight covers g8 for the rook drop, and e8, so... let's go king h8. My knight covers e square as well. If bishop takes, then bishop takes f7, covers the light squares, and I feel pretty safe. Hoping he runs out of time so he doesn't find the best moves, but knight takes e5 here really looks good. Wow, okay, he has found it. Okay, I guess I'll stick with my plan. Well, okay, let's try it. Queen a5. I'm losing some back rank defense, though. Ooh, that might be bad. Okay, I have knight takes, though, and take like this. And now I'm covering f7 twice, so he can't play knight f7. Or he can, but just doesn't win on the spot. What do I take with? Rook takes. Okay. Ooh, this looks pretty scary. Could play at h2, and then at g3. Takes. That looks pretty good. Or I could play rook f8 first and be safe. Then he's got rook takes e7. But that's a bit slow. I think that's a tough decision. So I could play rook f8 and try to be defensive, or I could play at h2. Let's throw in at h2 first, but I could play rook f8 anytime. So also he's in pretty serious time pressure, so it gets harder to defend. Could I try this? Knight g3, knight f2. Takes, and then takes. Bishop h4. It's a lot to calculate, man. Okay, I think it works. I'm trying it. And this is very nice. Bishop h4. If he takes, then I have queen g5 mate. Okay, there we go. So I think there was more to that game. Maybe I'll go over it later. If he had played king f3 instead of taking my bishop. I was a bit confused if I had mate or not. I tried to figure out something, but I don't think I had mate yet. So I'll probably have to drop the rook on f8 after all that, but that would give him some more material, so it's a bit scary. Good move. He's playing pretty good so far, I would say. Just want to keep my king safe. Knight f4 is a very strong move. Covers a lot of squares. Also attacks the bishop, so if he ignores it, I can just take and then get rid of one of the pinners. Whatever you would call it. I think as black here, I'd probably trade on f3. Or you could ignore it. That's probably the two options. Okay. I could actually take h5 now, but it feels a bit unnecessary. I'll take with pawn. If I take with queen, I'm kind of scared of like knight g5 and then stuff like that. My knight still covers the light squares, and I can always just put a bishop here, and I'll be safe. This is also kind of a threat, but not really, because after takes, he has good light squares, so I'm not going to actually take, but maybe it looks like an illusion, I don't know. So yeah, just defend these squares. Bishop e2 is fine, bishop h3 is fine. I should be able to repair. Okay, that's really interesting. Okay, takes. Knight takes d5, then he's got takes, and knight at g5. And I have to attack really quickly, so I think best is just take and then defend a little more. Play at e2. And he can't play at h3 because I'm defending it still. Bishop h1, I just really gotta not let him break through. If bishop e4, I might be able to just sacrifice now because I've got this, I don't know what you'd call it. It's strong bishops, I guess. You always gotta watch your dark squares here, though. If my queen wasn't here, he might have like bishop at h2 takes, knight at g4 takes, and then bishop h2 mate. So if my queen wasn't covering g4, you actually have mate here. So you gotta be pretty careful with this setup because it makes your dark squares weak. Your king can never like move away from dark squares. Bishop c6, okay. I thought he was gonna go for a repetition or something. Yeah. Okay, I gotta play at e2 first because... Oh, but now he's gonna go bishop e4. Then maybe I have at d4, try to get rid of the knight. Now maybe queen d4. No, I don't like that. I think I'll do at d4 anyways. Let him take, then I'll take the knight, sack the queen, and he's starting to run out of attackers, so I feel like that's still okay for me. And now I want to try to counterattack like this, maybe. Still got at e4, but I can probably ignore it. Because my light squares are so well defended now. This is a pretty nice king with all these pieces, so yeah. At h6 I can play knight f5, knight h5, knight g4. Let's play knight g4 because it covers my one weakness. Now my king is really safe. That's a good move. Can't play knight f5 anymore. I like knight h5 and sack on g7, but it's also not really necessary. I could probably play rook d5 if I want the pawn. Play at f6 then. That looks pretty good. But then I would open up his bishop. That's a probably easier way to get the pawn. Maybe just take, and then knight g4. He's got knight f5 then. So let's sack the rook. Let's play it risky. It's not really that risky though because my king is so safe. So I mean, look at this. There's just no way he's getting through here. No way. Knight covers each. I mean, everything is just covered. The knights cover opposite squares very well, and now I'm just gonna keep pushing until I break through. Okay, so I could try knight takes and knight at f5, but I probably need another knight because he's just got takes, and then run like this. Or, okay, I guess that square is covered. I think the safest is just to take here. And that's a really nice mate. Okay. So that was I think that was a really instructional game too, because I basically just built up my king so strong where there's nothing he could really do about it. And then even like a pawn on f6 was enough to win, just because there was zero chance of a counterattack, so I could sack whatever I wanted, and I'd still be safe. Yeah, again, I'm scared to play e5 here because of the queen trade, so I think I have to play bishop d7. I'll also play h6 first, actually. Let's try h6 here. I just gotta watch the light squares. Yeah. Okay, can I take that pawn? Okay, and then he trades queens. He has pawn for e7. I would have one knight, not two. I need two. Yeah, I don't think it's working. That's sad. Okay, takes. Takes at e7 is my concern. Bishop takes h2, king h1. It's just not enough. So I'll go back. Wow, okay. I was pretty sure I was gonna take it, but I just didn't see a way to survive, really. It just seemed much better for white. That's a good move. I'll cover my light squares and probably pin. This is another common move. Gets a pin and it covers your light squares too. And I'm not too well. I could play knight a5 first to try to push his bishop back, but then he's got bishop d3, maybe at h7. I don't know. He has at h7 anyways, though, so I think. Let's play knight a5. Seems reasonable, I think. Could also play at g6 instead of bishop h5, just to prevent any pieces from coming in to h7. I'm assuming he's gonna play bishop d3 at least. He could play something else. Takes. If he goes here, I'm probably gonna trade it off and then bishop h5, and just work on covering my light squares. Bishop e2. So this is a little bit weaker now. So maybe now at g6. Still like this, but he's got knight f4. Okay, I don't like knight f4. So if I put bishop h5, he had knight f4, and I probably have to trade and then knight e5, but this just seems like a safer first move, and now I can play bishop h5 if I want to. Take with bishop, just to develop it. That's a good move. I like that, yeah. Can I let him take? I think so. Like maybe rook c8, and then just takes. Well, that squares are a bit weak again, so I think I'll... Seems a bit overboard to try to play bishop d7. I feel like I should save it for something else. Maybe... Okay, I shouldn't spend so much time. I guess I'll just do this. If he takes, I have knight f4, because I'm getting a knight from him. It's a pretty good knight. Play at h3 later. Could play at h3. No, I can't now. Okay. That's a good move. Don't want to draw, but this might end up being repetition. Could try. Okay, let's start with defense. But he'll probably repeat. I don't want to draw. So if he does repeat, then I'll oh wait, thing is he has knight f4 now. So maybe that was a mistake actually. Okay, he's allowing me to play knight f4, so I'll definitely do that. It now covers both of these pawns, attacks both of these pawns, and also threatens at h3. So takes, and I'm kind of tempted to play at h3 instead of paying attention to his attack. I don't think I can though. So at h3, at h7, knight f7, takes. I think he's mating me before I do anything, so I just gotta take back. If anything here, I'm probably gonna move away. I don't think I'm worried about f7. Unless f7... Yeah, no, I'm gonna move away. Okay. I don't think I need to put anything there. He's got one diagonal and one knight now, so I've reduced his attackers a lot. I can play bishop here to cover f7. Or I could try at h3. So let's see. At h3, bishop here, takes. King takes. Yeah, it looks okay. Let's just play it safe though. Now this is my main idea. See, in this line, knight f7 is defended now. That's why I played this move. I'm trying to think of his defense after at h3. I think bishop f3 is probably the best. If I take, redrop, he can just move away. Maybe. I don't know. g6 is now covered enough because the bishop also defends g6, so I can't sack here to get rid of his pieces. It's actually a pretty tough position for me. This is an idea later on, but I gotta be careful about rook drops in the back. So it's pretty risky to do it now. Knight g4 seems kind of pointless though, to be honest. Now I can play at h3 and I feel pretty comfortable with this. Bishop f3, can I maybe sacrifice? Ooh. Whoa. Can I do, let's do rook c3. Threatening to take here now. If queen takes or pawn takes, I have this forked and I win the queen. Queen takes h6, I don't think that's a queen takes g7, I don't think it's a threat. Knight h6 is too slow. Just take here. Or it's actually even mate. I don't even have to take the queen. Just knight e2 takes, and then at h3, at knight at f3, and at g2 is mate. So I think I'm winning here. Rook c3 is a pretty nice move. Okay. Makes a lot of sense. Oh. Oh my god, I got scared. So that's definitely a mouse left he meant to take. I got a little bit scared on time there. I think rook f8 was the best just to be safe. Okay. So 8-0, but I guess there's no way he can catch up, so called it GG. Nice guy. Okay. So I'll go over some of the games. I think there's something to go over. First game, I don't know why it's showing up under the screen, so I guess I'll just open them all in. New tabs. I think I already had that one. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, we got them all. So first one I think was... No, this isn't the first one. I don't know what order I did them. Okay. Yeah, so first one was just him running out of time. That was pretty clear. This is all good. This is fine. This is good. This is still pretty close. So This is pretty equal still. And knight c5, he just basically was running out of time, so he didn't know what to do. Free knight. I think here you gotta play defensive, so at h6 maybe cover the dark squares a little bit. I think bishop e5 is good, then knight at h5 something. You do have this though, so you gotta be careful. Bishop d8 doesn't really work because of stuff like this to block. So if you move away, then you can take and then take. It's still a fight though. I mean, he's got like queen g7 check with tempo, and then at g6, and his king's pretty safe. But then yeah, he just got too low on time, so he played knight g5, and then that's just mate. Okay. This game was pretty nice, so good opening. This was a good move, I think. I was a little bit concerned about sacrifice on d5. Probably not that great, but you know, something like this, and then he just keeps pressuring the squares. I guess I don't think it's quick enough though, because I've got stuff like this, and now if he tries to keep attacking, I don't even know how he would try to attack. So this is already, it's hard for him to attack anything. If he tries, I can just do stuff like this. Even sack the queen, I think, and this is safe still. He doesn't really have any places to put anything, and I've got like a bunch of mates with these pieces. So I think this makes sense. I like e4. Queen to castle was very risky, but I didn't know what else to do. Bishop f5 looks good, but after I sack my queen, I feel pretty safe actually. So I went for the dark squares and then went for the light squares. I think I played this too quick though. So I think I should just play it safe and take it here. That's probably what I would have done now in hindsight. But in the game, I thought this knight f3 check was worth it. But then I started to realize that it's giving him too much fuel because I'm already risking the position by letting his queen come in the back. So here, if I had, for example, dropped my knight, like if I play knight b8, then I'm scared of like tricks on the a7. Bishop's still covering it, but it could happen. And if I drop the knight, then takes, and I don't have the knight for f3. I don't have any to do this fork. So I tried king d7 instead. He took, I take. So this is still probably much better for black, I think. Yeah. Much better for black. I was a little bit concerned about bishop. Oh, it's my turn. Bishop a4 at some point. So play bishop g4. And here I played it safe, but I think I need to this bishop g4. The idea is to try to counterattack and threaten f5, because this is like my biggest weakness. So here he was actually threatening if I had done something passive, I don't know, really passive like this, then, or okay, not knight a7, let's say, I don't know, like if I do an insignificant move, then he has at e6. Oops. Right, then he has at e6, takes, and then take here with check. This is pretty scary. He's got like knight f4 next after I block. Knight d4 or knight f4 because the queen pins. And I just don't want to risk a position like this. Still probably okay, but no reason to risk it. He's covering his light squares now with both of these pieces, so can't really counterattack easily. So bishop g4 defends against, where is it? Here, defends against at e6. At h3, I just take the pawn. Now my king's much safer. And then here I found a very nice mate. So, yeah, just a common pattern where the pawns, or any diagonal, gets the light squares, and the knight on f3 gets the two dark squares here. And in this case, also h4 and g5. So, this is already mate. Should be mate. Mate in 6, yeah. Okay. You see the end. Oh, okay, it was this game. So, this game was good in the start. I think he should have just played bishop b7. Typically, this bishop is more valuable in Crazyhouse than regular chess. So in regular chess, you see d5, but I think bishop b7 is stronger. So this is kind of okay. I actually like at h6 more. I wonder what the computer says. See, computer likes at d6, so it's kind of, that's what I was saying earlier, where if you play, okay, it's getting really laggy when I turn on the computer, so when you play at b7, you get the rook for a pawn because you can defend or just develop. Or you can play at c7 and get a knight for a pawn, but you don't need a knight or a rook, you kind of want a diagonal, so the computer actually likes this the most because it breaks through in the light squares. So yeah, and then at h6 is probably also good. I wouldn't be surprised if it's like plus a lot. Yeah, there you go. Compare that plus 4.6 with my move. Whoops. It's gonna be less, I'm guessing. No, it's still the same. Even more, actually. So I guess I was wrong there. So I guess I played a pretty good move still, but... Rook c7, this is pretty common when you get a rook in these kind of positions where you don't want one. Sorry. If you don't want the rook, because it doesn't really do much, you basically put it here, and now I can trade for all sorts of pieces, and it's just aggressive, so it's pretty easy for me to get what I want later. c4, good move to trade, because I need to trade. This is really nice, I think it's good. It's just to cripple his dark squares, basically, and it really worked. I mean, look at this. He can't put any diagonal pieces here, he doesn't have any bishops for the back, so he's really in trouble here. This was the really bad move, in my opinion. That just kind of sealed the deal, so rook g6 maybe. And it almost looks like he can counterattack with something like this, but he's not quite fast enough. If I play king h1, this isn't check, and then I have mate. So, but even so, I mean, something like this is still good. If I pin, then knight f5, defend both of these. It's probably the best shot he has. But then I have moves like e7. This is very, very nice. If he takes, a rook f8 mate. Takes here, then I can just take. But now, yeah, okay, I'm out of diagonals, so can't play anything on h6. So still a fight, I guess, but it's definitely much better for me after this. I think this sacrifice was the right thing to do. I wonder what the computer says. Computer finds some other stuff. The computer always has some complex move like this, but humans go for the king. I think it's just easier. So it's still really winning, it thinks. So okay, here there was no defense. King g6, mate in 1. Knight covers these squares. Bishop covers this, and then like that. So if he goes back, then mate in 1. Goes to the corner, then same check. He has to block, and then mate in 1. Or the other way around. Doesn't really matter. This, and then either one is checkmate. Okay. Still up. Played c4 here. I don't know this opening at all, so I just played my e6 d6 line. Oh yeah, and this game went super, super well. So e5 is always good in these kind of lines because it makes black's position much more active, so it's easier to counterattack. So it's just almost always good. And then here I was pretty close to playing at g6 and just ignoring this and saying whatever, knight d5, and then keep defending. And your king is pretty safe. But this is much less active, and it's definitely not as good as what I end up finding, which is knight b4. I think knight b4 is just winning already. Minus 11, see, minus 12 is even worse. See, and it's already much better for black. It's kind of a surprise. So see how this, see, look here, it's slightly better for white, and then once I get e5, look at this, once he takes here, oh, okay, once he takes, it's already much better for black, so, okay, and then he played edge e4, this knight b4 is very nice, so the idea is it attacks both of these, and it comes with check, so if he goes here, which he did, take with check. You can't really go back, I just take anyways, queen's defending, or attacking as well. There's no real other line to go over. If he tries to take here first, then I just take, he has to move the queen away, and then free pawn here, and I'm completely winning. I can even play, here could even have played at c2 instead and trap the queen, which is kind of nice. So, it's pretty hard for him to defend. I think he played the right line, but it's still losing. And queen takes, and so at first here I was a bit concerned. I actually don't know if he could have survived, so bishop takes f6 is the safe move, takes, and this is still like a fight, I would say, but it's probably better for white. No, still isn't. That's a surprise. I think this is easier to play for white. But, okay, still gives better for black. So I decided to not play this line and just play it risky, but this is a bit... Maybe rook e8 is the best move here. That's my issue. I was kind of scared of him just defending too easily. So I think I like what I found is bishop g4. So bishop g4 covers the back rank. He takes, and I just recapture. And the threat too is that I'm also threatening these two squares. So I have queen d1 takes, or queen e2 takes, and it's hard for him to defend both those squares. If he tries to do like bishop d1 to defend both squares, I can just take. Same threat on e2 now. Probably has to play like knight g3 to manage it, which is still pretty bad. If he doesn't, if he takes, then I just have queen e2 mate immediately. So he's got to be pretty careful. His queen is very, very strong because his king can't move. So I think this is right, and I was a little bit scared of mate here, actually. If I go here, he's got mate, right? So I have to take, but then he's got knight f6, king h8 is best, here, knight h5, and now, oh, okay, now I can go back to the corner and he has nothing. That's what I was missing, okay. And this is just waiting for me. But the thing is, he does get to take here. Oh, no, he doesn't. That's the idea. Okay, then I have knight c2 mate. So, he was actually right. This is already mate then, for me, I guess. I think this is already mate then. Is there defense? Rook d2. Oh, okay. Rook d2. Oh, that's really nice. Bishop b4. If you take, then this is pinning. So you can mate on e2, yeah. But okay, this is completely waiting for me. I think the key idea here is knight b4, and then bishop g4 in this position. And you're threatening mate and defending at the same time. So, it's a good move. Yeah, here, knight h5 is a good move, but he's making my dark squares pretty strong. I really like this edge e4. This is definitely the best idea, and he's trying to pressure my light squares, which are kind of weak. Here I kind of went a little bit over aggressive with that f6. I think best might have been just knight at d2, but computer might like at f6 too, because computer's pretty aggressive. Yeah, there it is. But still goes better for black, which is interesting, just because his bishop is so strong. But okay, at f6 is the computer recommended move, so that's nice. I found it. Bishop 6 is just a terrible mistake, though, because it allows me to break through, basically. I don't think hg7 is so good, because here it feels like black has some attacking chances, maybe. No, it is a bit tough then. Yeah, maybe bishop g5 to cover. His dark squares are more covered now, and the rook is still covering a bunch of stuff. And now I'm a bit scared of e4. I might have to just defend it. It's probably better for black, isn't it? No, it's not. Bishop d3, okay. But I thought his move was a little bit too easy, because now I have at f6, and then the light squares are so weak, and I'm threatening mate. Maybe bishop h7 is the right move here. That could still work, but looks. Oh yeah, bishop h7 seems pretty good. But it gives plus 13 because of this. I was scared of knight takes d4 though, and he's kind of knight takes d4. Mate in 6 then. Oh yeah, at e7. Okay, yeah. So here if takes, then you have mate in 1. If king f8, then at e7. Or I guess this works too. Oh yeah, because then you have mate here. Okay. I didn't see that in the game, so. But he didn't play that. He just took d4. He lets me break through here. This is also a nice resource too to get the queen out of the knight's attack. So in the case that my attack goes wrong, I have moves like here. Let's say in this case I have mate, but let's just say I don't have mate. Then I can play stuff like bishop g4, and everything is covered. So I'm still safe and alive. But if I left my queen here, then it would be pretty bad, I think. But in this case, I did have mate. He resigned here because it's mate in 1. Okay. Yeah, so here I'm black. A good game by him. I think this is the first mistake, moving the bishop back. The correct move is just to take, and then at e5 and try to keep pressuring. I probably have to go back, and then takes. Something like this I think is normal. You can go back, I think. But typically, black will end up pretty safe in the end. You can play a bunch of different moves here. I think bishop. I like h7 the most, I think. And then maybe d5, you just try to keep defending. And he'll probably try to keep attacking. We'll see. This is kind of a tough game to decide. White's king is safer, but white's also down a lot of material. But still a fight. So in his line, though, when you don't take g7, it becomes easier for black to defend. And then here I went for the dark squares, which I like. G3 is very, very weak now. But then here I missed bishop takes. He might have had some sort of counterattack. Knight e5, I didn't think he would find that. That was a good move, because if I take, he gets to trade queens. I don't want to risk that. Probably still okay for now, but yeah, look at that. No, it's confusing still. This is a tough position. I think it's very easy for humans to mess it up, so computer says it's slightly better for white, but I don't know. Queen a5, attack the bishop, the pawn, and the knight. Rook g8 isn't strong enough because I can take with the knight, and I'm still covering f7. Now here I realized that rook at f8 would have been defending still, but I wanted to go for the attack instead, and it kind of did work. Knight g3, I think here he should have just taken, but he didn't. He just took here instead. And bishop h4 was a nice little trap. Yeah, he took, and then I had mate. So they correct his king f3, and here I was kind of unsure what to do. I didn't know if it was going to be mate or not. I can't just take the queen because he's got mate already. So here I think I'll have to play rook f8, but I'm pretty scared of like rook e8 now, and then it's pinned. I can't even take here. So I guess queen f5, and then is a very confusing position. I guess here though I force him onto the e file, right? And then I can take with check, and then continue the attack. So I think this is better for black still. No, better for white. So let's see. Does it say better for white here? No, better for black. So I guess I missed queen f5 here. The computer can attack so well that it'll find a win. Oh yeah, okay, and then I just take the bishop. My king is still kind of safe. So yeah, that's what I missed. But okay, luckily for me, he just blundered a mate. So that was a quick end. Okay. This game. So this game he had a really good attack on my light squares, but I defended very, very well. So just make sure my king is safe, keep dropping. Here he could have gone for a draw, to be honest, but he didn't. So here, pretty safe to sack my queen because my king is so safe, so I'm not really worried about it. Knight g4 I really like just because it covers this last weakness of my king, the dark square. So now I've got all these pawns. The bishops cover the light squares. Rooks cover the back rank. Knight covers the two knights next to each other cover very well. Oh man. The two knights also cover very well because they get a bunch of squares near my king. These are all important squares, and then these are covered by a lot of stuff. So it's pretty much impossible for him to attack. The queen does absolutely nothing because you literally can't put it anywhere. So it was totally worth it to sacrifice my queen there. And then I can even sacrifice my rook here because the back rank's still covered. Everything is safe. And then at f6 it's very hard to do anything about it. He went for this, but then very nice mate. Knight takes h6. Pretty much no hope there once I got my king so safe. And the last game, yeah, here I was really tempted. This is the first like significant moment. I wanted to take here and just go for the pawn, but I was scared of this, and then the move was at e7, and now he's starting to promote soon. I might have to play like bishop d7. It just doesn't seem worth it. I don't really have any counterattack that I can see. This doesn't work. He just sidesteps, and maybe Stockfish disagrees. Yeah, he still thinks it's better for black, but I was scared to play it. I think it's riskier. Yeah, there we go. Now it suddenly says it's plus 14.5 for white. It's just a risky position. So I guess at e7 isn't the right move because then it's better for black. But point is, it's too risky. So I'm glad I didn't play it. I went back instead, and then I covered my light squares. Knight f4 is a very good move. Covers, attacks both the pawns, and then attacks. I mean, literally, like every single square that the knight is attacking is like worth something except for d3. It's a pretty strong knight. Bishop e8 to be defensive, and I had time pressure as well. Knight g4 was a bad move though, because it doesn't really do anything. Here, I think best is like bishop f3, just defend the king, defend the light squares, and later try to find a way to put the knight somewhere. But okay, he goes knight g4, so I can play at h3 now, and I'm threatening to break through if takes. I drop a pawn and go back, and I'm definitely have an advantage. So went queen d4, and I found a really nice rook takes c3 move. So If pawn takes, then I take here with check, take here with check. This is actually mate already, a few moves. Actually, this is confusing. I don't know what I'm doing. Let's see. I think it should be mate, though. Let's say here, and then this is mate. And if he goes up, then this is mate. So yeah, this would have been mate already. And if queen takes, it's very similar. Except for he's covering the third rank, so I have to do this. If here, this is checkmate. And then if here, this is also checkmate. So, or I could even just take the queen. So rook takes c3, really nice move to get rid of the defender. My rook is pretty useless. He can't really mate me with the rook or anything because my king is too safe. So he took f4, which is actually probably the best move because he needs to get rid of that strong knight. And so I just took the queen, and then he mouse-slipped b3 and, whoops. He mouse-slipped b3 and resigned. I think if he takes here, it's still a bit scary because I don't have any immediate attack. And I gotta be careful of rook g8 checkmate. Also maybe knight f7 ideas later. So maybe I can try to find something like this, but I'm trying to find if I have a mate or not. Probably not though. Yeah, it's just overboard. So okay, the best thing here is probably rook back. Just defend the mate threat. And then he can take here, but then I have tricks like this. If he takes, then I have knight h4. And this is going to be mate, no matter where he goes. So he can't take. He has to play like knight g3. This is definitely much better for black. So it would have been better for me anyways, even if he took, but it's definitely not like this move. Curious what the computer thinks here. Yeah, I was thinking the computer will find some sort of attack instead of bringing the rook back. And now rook, something like this doesn't work because of, yeah, very nice mate. Queen h1. And then knight h3. Yeah. Bishop covers g2. But okay, that was totally winning for me anyways. I think this bishop e8 move was good to be safe first. And then rook takes c3. Yeah, the computer already recommends rook takes c3 here. Or okay, no, now it's going to h3, which is what I played. And then I thought rook takes c3. Yeah, okay, completely winning. Well, that was fun. Thanks for watching. I won my first game, so I'll be playing again, I think in like 2 weeks. The next round against Mahyar. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Actually, I'll be moving to a new channel. So